you see, it's very, very important. It's very, very important. I can see on the group people are still facing an error or something like that. I don't know why people are getting that error, but it's not on my side. It's not on my side. It's not on my side. So hopefully they will be able to fix that error. All right. Now let's just have a quick example of what I mean by program logic. Let's say we've got steps to make what? Of making tea. You can have a statement to say, get a tea kettle, and have that statement just like that. And the second statement that we have, we can say put what? 3 cup milk. And then we can have put some sugar, right? Even though you have used the English language correctly, the making tea instructions are out of sequence, and some of the instructions are what? Are missing. Because you look at those 3 statements, they don't really make sense. Okay, get a tea kettle, put 3 cup milk, it does not make sense. Put some sugar, it doesn't really make. You have used the correct English syntax, everything is okay. That's English, by the way. That's English. What you're seeing on the screen right there, that's English. But now the problem now with many programmers is that they know the syntax. They know you give them something to do right now, they can do it. But the problem is that their codes, whatever that they're trying to code, does not give us logic. It does not have logic. I've seen most of your codes when you're busy writing different codes, like even last year when you're busy writing Java code, I could see on your code that most of your codes, they are not developing some sort of logic. Whereas it's so important, if we're trying to solve problems through programming, we must also think of what? We must also think about logic. Because if you were to follow the instructions that I've just written on the screen right there, it will not really allow you to make property. Okay? And then one thing that you must understand about logical errors is that logical errors, they are much difficult to what? They are much difficult to locate than syntax error. Because with syntax errors, we know that, okay, if you miss a semicolon. In English, we know that a syntax error can be defined as what? Starting, if you want to start a sentence with, if you start a sentence with a small case, we will know that, okay, that's a what? That's a syntax error. But when it comes to logical now, when it comes to logical, it becomes a little bit what? Difficult. So you must be able to think about that. Programming as we're trying to solve problems, to actually think about that. Now, having said that, we are continuing, and I want to introduce you to something that is so important. Last time I did show you guys the program development cycle. Okay, program development. However, I was showing you the SDLC, which is the software development life cycle. Okay, the software development cycle. But other authors sometimes they will call it the what? The PDLC, the program development life cycle. The steps are still the same. You will have the first step where you go and gather, and what? And analyze. Go and gather and analyze the program requirements. This involves interviews, observation, and all those kind of things. Then number 2, you can go for the design. You design whatever that you're designing. Number 3, we also talked about to code the program. Number 4, we also talked about to test the program. Then we also talked about what? Documentation, the importance of documentation. I showed you some of the problems they face when they are busy with this writing of programs, how they charge customers in a wrong way, because even themselves, they don't understand the program development cycle or the documentation. Number 6, we have to talk about the maintenance, or we can say updates, right? We talked about that. I don't want to go into that, but I want to show you something that is very, very important when it comes to programming, and then that will be flowchart symbols. Flowchart symbols. So it's very, very important to understand the flowchart symbols, because they form part of your algorithm. We're going to talk about the algorithm very soon. We're going to talk about the pseudocode very, very soon. But it's so important for you to understand that, okay, if you are trying to solve a particular problem, sometimes there is a necessity. It's necessary for you to what? To represent the whole of your code or the whole of your application using what? Using symbols. Okay, now I'm going to try and draw those symbols, and then I'll just try to indicate the description. So we've got a symbol that looks like that, like a yeah, I'm not really a fan of shapes, but more like a circle or something like that, or an oval. Okay, so this symbol, it basically indicates the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna show you in an example very soon. Shows the beginning, and it also shows what? The end of what? Of the program's flow. Program's flow, right? So whenever you see that symbol, just know that, okay, this might be the what? The beginning, or it might be the end. And then we've got another one that looks like that. It's more like a parallelogram. And then with that one now, it indicates input slash what? Output. Okay, and then we've got a rectangle, just like that, where this one, it indicates what? Processing. Whenever you see that, it's indicating that there's a process that is just happening at that particular time. And then we also have like, something like that. Then this indicates what? Decision. That indicates decision. So important. I know there are a lot of symbols, but in this case, we're not going to look at a lot of those symbols and all those kind of things. But we are going to just look at these 4 because they are important. Okay, these 4, they are so important. So let's say, for an example, you are given a task to say, okay, try to write a program. You're going to write a program. Write a program, find the area of a circle. Find the area of the circle. Most of you already in your mind now, you already have that idea to say, okay, to write the area, the program of the areas of a circle. This is what I'm going to do. In your mind, it's already there. In your mind, it's already there. But let's look into this. When you are trying to find a solution for that particular project, or for this particular problem, to make you a good coder, to make you a good problem solver, you don't just rush to what? To write that particular program. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna do pi r squared input what. It does not make you a great problem solver. You see, being able to code does not make you a problem solver. There are a lot of people who are good coders. I've met them, but the truth is, you're not what? But the truth is, you're not a problem solver. Okay? The truth is, you're not a problem solver. The truth is, you're not a problem solver. There's a difference between a good coder and a problem solver. The two are not the same, and they'll never be the same. So I'm gonna try and develop you as problem solvers. So we've got a problem. We want to find the area of a circle. It does not matter which programming language. Right now, let's put it away. We don't understand anything. How are we going to do that? You are first going to write down the requirements of what is needed. How are you going to do that? You are going to say, all right, for an example, what is it that is really needed right there? First of all, we need the what? The area. Then for us to get the area, we must have somewhat. Obviously, this our area will be the output that we are requiring. And then for us to get that area, it means that we have to what? To find the radius. The radius will be what? It's an example of what? Of an input. And then we also have to come up with a what? With a rule. The rule will be what? The rule will be pi multiplied by what? By radius multiplied by radius. And that will give you a solution. That will give you a solution to find what? The area of the circle. So when you're trying to code whatever that you want to code, you first write that. What is it? The requirements that are needed, and you specify them. Okay, this is what we want, and then after that, you need now to what? To develop an algorithm. Remember, these are basic steps that you follow when you're trying to solve a particular problem. Okay, how do you write an algorithm in a more professional way? Okay, this is how you write an algorithm in a more professional way. You write begin, semicolons just there, then you indicate step number 1. Step number 1, then step number 1 will be what? Someone can say, okay, we can accept the what? The radius. Because your program, the way it's gonna be designed, is gonna ask the user to say, okay, user, enter the value of r, which is what? Radius. Then step number 2. Step number 2 will be what? To find the square and store it in the variable. So we can say what? Find the square and store it in a variable. In this case, our variable will be what? Will be r. Then step number 3, we need to multiply what? Step number 3, we need to multiply r by what? By pi. In this case, pi will be 3,14. Then we also need to what? And store the result in variable what? In this case, it will be variable area, of which I'm not saying that you have to copy what I'm doing step by step. One can change the algorithm based on how they understand. Some can say, okay, we're going to accept the radius. And then after that, step number 2, find the square. Step number 3, store the what. And then you can have 5 steps, depending on how. Because even if we are looking into it, guys, how does one cook? People cook in different ways, depending on how you were taught and all those kind of things. But at the end of it all, you will have food. That's the logic here. Now, after that, you need to represent this algorithm in some sort of flowchart. So in this case, we have already talked that whenever we're starting a program, we'll start it with a what? With a circle. So we can just indicate that that's a start, then an arrow pointing down, and then this is not a rectangle, it's more like a parallelogram, something like that. And then why are we using that thing that looks a parallelogram? It's because we want to insert a certain input. Okay, there's a certain input that we need to enter. In this case, we're going to enter the value of what? Enter the value of r, because we need the input for what? For radius. And after that, it moves. Then now we need to what? To process. When we process, we use the what? The rectangle. Okay. Then what are we processing? We are going to calculate r squared. Then after that, we're going to calculate what? So the process. So we're going to calculate what? We're going to calculate the area, of which the area will be that multiplied by what? By 3,14. Then some can choose to say, okay, we're going to display, but for now, we're not going to display anything. You can just have an and. So basically, if you were to understand that, even someone who's not studying computer science, even someone is just, this person is just a business person, they want you to write a certain application, they can understand what you're trying to present to them, the logic behind that particular program that you're trying to write for them. But if you are just to write a program, it will be difficult for you to even what? To even document that particular program. But if you do it this way, you apply your problem solving skills. We understand what is happening behind the scenes. Trust me, it will be easier for you to write what? To write programs. The reason why many people struggle with writing programs, writing code and all those, understanding a particular language, is because they don't understand that all these things, they what? They form part of problem solving. Problem solving. Hence, we are we want to teach you about the behind right. Sorry for that. I think the network kind of like kicked me out. Can you hear me now? Like, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Right. But okay, guys. Whatever that I'm teaching you guys, is it making sense or it's not making sense? I would like to know from you guys.
It's making sense.
What I'm trying to teach right now, is it making sense or you are all getting lost? I would like to hear from you guys.
We understand.
No, it is making sense.
It's making sense. All right, perfect. So this is the more like background of programming, the art of solving skills. So I can give you a task and I say, all right, guys, I can give you a task and I be like, all right, do that and 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 do that. The first thing that I want to see, even if I tell you, okay, write a C++ program to add two numbers. What I want you to apply there, the first thing that I want to see you writing the requirements, the area, the radius, and whatever. You develop an algorithm, you represent that algorithm using flowcharts. However, it does not end there. There are some times where you also need to write what I call a pseudocode. And that's where I've realized that most most students they struggle a lot. Trust me, most students they struggle a lot when it comes to writing the pseudocode, because they really don't understand. So what is a pseudocode? Like, what is a pseudocode? That's the question that one must ask themselves. So a pseudocode, it's basically a textual version of an algorithm, where algorithm written in steps is elaborated using English-like statements. Thus, it is not a code, but an explanation about what? About that particular code. That's a pseudocode now. Let's try to have an an example of a pseudocode. We can, let me try to check the most simplest. Right. Okay. I want to use the same approach where we're trying to find the area of the circle. So All right, so let me just find a place. Okay, I'll write it on the other side. So with a pseudocode, it's more like you're writing using English statement. Okay, it's like you're writing everything using English statements. You're trying to explain this algorithm in a way that it will make sense. This algorithm in a way that it will make sense. So how can we write that pseudocode? First of all, the pseudocode of this code will be written in this way. Number one will be what? Input what? The value of the radius. Then you can indicate it. Okay. That will be your first step. And step number 2 in your pseudocode, one can say, okay, we'll declare a constant what? A constant pi. And assign it to 3,14. 3, then we are going to calculate the area of the circle using the formula. In this case, that formula would what? Pi r squared, something like that. Then number 4, you're gonna what? Output the calculated area of circle. Now, that's your pseudocode. So in this pseudocode, the first thing that we do, we ask the what? We ask the user to input the what? The radius of the circle. Then we declare the constant pi with a value of 3,14, which is we're just estimating, right? We're just estimating the true value of pi. But we're not really interested in the value of pi. We're just interested in solving that particular problem. Then after that, we use the formula which we already know that, okay, pi r squared, and then we finally display the what? The value of the circle. So all these steps, they are so important in what? In problem solving. If, for an example, I give you a question, write a program write a program to find the average of 3 numbers. Once I give you that, I'm trying to say, write all these kind of things. You declare you show us the requirements, you develop an algorithm, you draw the flow chart, you also provide the pseudocode. Because you might find that this whole question on its own, just answering this, just 30 marks. Then when you have developed everything, when you've written all the things that you see on the screen now, it is then now we can talk about what? We can talk about the language itself, C++, the language that we are going to what? We are going to use. We can talk now about the structure of what? We can talk about the structure of C++. But the most important thing that we needed to understand was to understand what? Was to understand the fact that we need to develop our problem solving skills. Our problem solving skills. So it's so important for everyone to understand that this is what is required of us. This is what is required of us. Now, for your homework, the homework that I'm going to give you today, I'm going to need from you guys today, I want you to write a program that will find average marks of 3 subject of the student and also draw the flowchart. So in other words, in this question that I'm giving you guys, I want you to Okay, or let me put it this way. Let me not say write a program, because some of you go and code and I don't want you guys to code. Write an algorithm to find the average marks of 3 subjects of a student and also draw the flowchart. Write an algorithm to find the average of 3 marks of what? Of the average of 3 marks, to find average of 3 marks of 3 subjects of the students and also draw the flowchart. Write an algorithm to find average marks of 3 subjects of the students and also draw the flowchart. I'm repeating it for the last time. Write an algorithm to find average marks of 3 subjects of the student. And also draw the flowchart. So when that question comes to you like that, I'm expecting to see the input, the output, and the rule. I'm also expecting to see the algorithm. I must see begin. And one thing that I forgot to indicate on the algorithm, when you finish an algorithm, you indicate it by end. It's S because we have started it with what? With begin. So we must end it with that statement. So you write it there. So I'm expecting to see that. Then after doing that, I want you to draw a similar diagram to that. In this code, or in this question that I've given you, I didn't include the pseudocode. I'm not looking for a pseudocode. All I'm looking for is you guys to develop an algorithm to try and solve the problem that we have, to find an average of what? Of average marks of 3 subjects of the student. And also you must draw the what? The flowchart. Then after that, it means that I will send a link where you guys on the group. I will send the link where you guys are supposed to submit your work. Make sure that you when you save your work, it's your student number. When you at the top before answering your question, also make sure that there is what? Or there's a student number. Maybe one is asking to say, but how are we going to draw whatever that we're supposed to draw? Now there are a lot of tools. That you can actually use. Okay, I want to show you one of the tools. I'm going to show you one of the tools that you can go ahead and just use it. It's a free tool. Yeah, this is the tool. It's known as, just go to Google and type in draw.io. Okay, just click like that. It will load them. You will say save your diagrams to, you can choose to say you want to save it on your device, Google Drive, whatever, or you want to save it on GitHub. But for now, we're not going to save it on GitHub. Just going to say create a new existing, then blank diagram, just like that. And save it like that. And click create. Yeah, after creating it, it will show you something like that. So you know that our first, it will be what? It will be start. Just drop your circle right there, your text. And then you just indicate the, say start, the arrow, doing the arrow just like that. Then what follows? It's a process. What follows is a process, or what? No, we are accepting the input or something like that. So we have that kind of a shape. Make it a little bit bigger, and then text. Then you can have your input there. It continues. I just love to duplicate, Control D, then just like that. And then you can have your rectangle. You must know what the rectangle represents, a process. This one, it's input, output. Then we have the process right there. And then the diagram will continue to go down. So after that, you realize that, okay, you are done with designing whatever that you're designing. How do you save it? File. Then you need to export it, okay? You need to export it. You can choose to export it using PNG or JPEG, So most of the time I prefer PNG, then make it transparent, and then the border width, I just choose 2, and then export it, and then there you go. You have something like that, and then you can just actually copy that and paste it on your Microsoft Word document. As you paste it on your Microsoft Word document, then yeah, it will be visible. Then I'll be able to see it. Then I'll be able to assign a mark if you did the correct thing. Remember, the problem that we're trying to solve here, you're going to write an algorithm to find average marks of 3 subjects of the student and also draw the flowchart. So I'm expecting to see the flowchart. I'm expecting to see the input, the output, and the row. I'm also expecting to see the algorithm being designed in a proper manner. Okay, then I'll send the link. It will be due by Friday, Friday 12 o'clock sharp in the afternoon. This homework will be due. Then I'll mark it. Then I'll assign your marks back, and we can take it from there. Then in our next class, now we can now start talking about the language itself, the C++ language itself. What is it that is expected from the language? What is it that how to develop programs using C++? We will be using dev C++, we'll be writing codes, I'll be explaining statement by statement, we'll learn a lot of things, and then we can take it from there. Any questions?
No questions.
No questions, all right. Okay, in the absence of questions, guys, today it's Tuesday. I'm hoping to see you this Thursday. And if things go well, I will be announcing that we might have a contact class maybe this weekend. I'll let you know if I will be able to travel. But if I'm able to travel this weekend, I'll be there. And then we can have our first contact class where I'll be teaching you about C++. But I will let you know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So, perfect. Now, in the absence of questions, let's meet this Thursday. I'll announce the time on the group, what time we're going to meet so that we can continue to push. And then very soon, we'll be writing a first test and it will be amazing. Then till then, guys, enjoy your holiday. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.